Hi everyone, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me. I know many of you are probably starting to think about what you're going to do for holiday cards. Some of you have probably started them, and I'm sure there's a few of you who are already finished. I am by far into the first group of starting to think about cards, and I want to show you one today from Hero Arts called Big Mouth Nutcracker. I really like this card because there's several things we can do with it to change it up, and I think this is one I could stand to mass produce because it was pretty easy to put together. And if I need to make it a little more exciting, I can do that as well. So let's start with the base card using the Big Mouth Nutcracker die. And very simple to put together. I like him because he's different, but he's easy to put together. The pieces, easy to die cut and put together. And, even though there's a fair number of pieces in the die set, they're all big pieces. What I love is you can change up the colors. I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this. Now, I want to just point out when you look at this picture, there's a line that's cut. You can see there, it's like a die cut line there. But my guy does not have that. And that's because I just used this one die set, but there's a second one that we can use to make this interactive. But I want to stay with just this line here because when you buy the die, you think, well, where's that die? It comes in a second set, but let's just say you're not going to make it interactive and you just want this, and how do we line up those teeth? So this is the second one I made, and you can see that I have that line in there, and that's because I have that second die set. But I'm going to give you the measurements so that if you're like, well, I just want the one die set, how can I get that line? Let me show you what it does. So I've cut it out, but I've measured this, and it's 2.5 inches up from the bottom of your card base, and then the cut line is 2.25 inches wide. So if you have a nesting rectangle set, you could lay that down 2.5 up inches from the bottom, and it's 1 inch on each side, and die cut this piece out. Very simple to do. Or if you don't even want to do that, you could draw the lines in, or what I would do is if I could add a die like this or close to it, I would just take this, lay it down so it's up 2.5 inches from the bottom. And, if I used a pen, a marker, whatever you want to do, draw my line around. And then I would have not only a line to line up the teeth, but I would have what looks like the sides of the mouth. Now, because I did not have any kind of lines here, I actually do. Below the teeth is a white line to help me line up the teeth. So I just took a ruler, marked up 2.5 inches, made a little mark, marked in from 1 inch, and then made my line 2.25 inches long, find the center. And then once you get one tooth down, it's easy to line up the rest. So a couple different ways to do that, if with or without the line. If I'm just sending this one, chances are, without making it interactive, I'm just going to do it like this. No one's going to say, well, he's missing his mouth, because it's those teeth that draw your attention in. So a couple different ways. If you just have the one die set and you want to keep it super simple, like you could just sit and die cut one night, put these together, and you're done. And then put them on a card base, or make your card base and build this on top of your card base. And then that would save you, a quarter sheet of paper. Whatever you want to do, you've got some choices. So let's look at it if we make it interactive. And I do think this is a really neat die. And again, it's a very simple interactive die. And of course, I have to play around with this. There is a video on heroarts.com on how to put this together if he's interactive. You can get on there, find this die set, and then scroll down, and beneath that is a video on how to do this. Again, very simple. And I can pull the beard down, and that opens up the teeth. And I'm going to talk about why mine is kind of, jaggedy here, because of course I can't follow the instructions. So I'm going to tell you what I did, and then we're going to look at one as to how the instructions are. Because if I was going to make a bunch of these, I'm like, I need to take as few steps as possible. So let's take a look at the interactive die. And this is the die. It's probably hard to see the white on the white there. So let's flip it over, and this is called the Big Mouth slider set, and there's 3 pieces to it. And this one cuts this opening, which we took a look at, and then let's take a look at the other pieces. And I'll tell you why I have this little template, but this will show us the pieces. So we have this one big outer piece that this is our card base, so we use this to cut out this opening. Then on the inside, we have this little piece that helps guide our mechanical piece and pop the card up a little bit, pop the face up. And then we have this bottom piece, and this is actually, this blue piece here is actually the piece down here with the beard and the teeth on it. And that's the one that runs up and down the mouth. Again, this is all explained very clearly in the video, but I just want to show you kind of what I did to make this easier for me. So let's pretend this piece of tape is our beard. And so the inside of it, which once it's put together, you won't see, it runs up and down like this. So in the video, they put the whole card together, everything's together, and then she shows how to stamp it. And I mean, it's a great video with great tips. And she pulls this mouth down, and this is empty because she hasn't stamped it yet. And she puts it in her stamp positioner and then stamps it. And all I could think is, okay, well, that's dangerous for me because the first thing I'll do is not stamp it right. Even if it's in a stamp positioner, I'll have a mess. And I've done all this work to make this guy, and now I'm messing it up in the middle. So I thought, I got to find a different way. I have to stamp it first and then build on top of it. Because if I mess this piece of paper up, flip it over, or get rid of it, or whatever, I can start over. I don't want to mess it up after I have my whole guy put together, my whole nutcracker. So this is what I did, and I'll show you even a simpler way, but this made sense to me at the beginning. I cut one of these pieces out that I used that's going to pop the face up a little bit so my bottom of my mouth can run up and down. And then I cut these 2 pieces out. This one's at the bottom, this one's at the top. So this is the area I have to stamp my sentiment. I put this in my stamp positioner, and then I can line my sentiment up, pick it up on I have a Misty, pick it up on my Misty, and then I can make as many of these card bases as I want, just stamp, 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 stamp. They're ready to go. And then I can get all these other pieces and build on top of that stamped piece of paper already. I'm not waiting till the end. An even easier way to do it, which is kind of what I started doing. Let's say this is my piece I'm going to stamp on, and I've got my face pieces already cut out. So this is one of the face pieces. I can just lay this on top, and then I would have the blue piece here. What did I just do with that? Oh, it's over here. This would be matching color, but this is the bottom piece of my face, and I would just line it up here at the bottom because then I know that's my area for my sentiment. So however you want to do it, if you want to do it this way, super simple. I did this because then this will help me remember what it is I'm doing and how the card goes together. So, after I make however many of them, 20 of them, I probably won't forget. But I needed to stamp first before I built my nutcracker on top. So, got him going. And then in the instructions, this piece here, they tell you to cut out of paper, and it's just like white paper because you aren't going to see it, 2 to 3 times because we need to have this built up enough to hold the face up. So again, the bottom teeth can slide up and down. So they suggested 2 or 3 layers of this. If you have thick paper, 2 layers should be good. If it's thinner paper, 3 layers. Just see what you have, test it out, and then you glue those pieces together, these pieces together, and then you glue them to your card base, wherever you're going to have your sentiment. You glue it to that. Of course, I'm thinking, if I do 20 of these, I don't want to have to cut out 40, glue them together, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, let me get a piece of that fun foam. And this is a thin, I think it's 2 millimeter fun foam, and I'm going to try this. So that's what this is. And you can see it lifts it up a little bit there, and it works, but I kind of get stuck on the edges. And I can kind of feel this go underneath that foam. So I'm going to do one more, but I think what I did is I need to make sure I glue right along this edge so that when I'm pulling my mouth up and down, it can't get caught over here. I think that's what's happening. Again, this is just an option. You can do the paper, but I'm always trying to find a shortcut. And then you have another piece in actually this die set where you cut out these 6 triangles, glue them together, and that's what pops up the beard. So there's some, room to move that beard up and down. I would say cut those 6 pieces out and do that, because I'm going to show you another one here. I just did it out of foam, 2 things out of foam. It pops it up, but again, it's kind of loosey-goosey here. And I have the same problem with this one, even more so because the beard is loosey-goosey. And so then when I did those 6 things of paper, that worked better. I also made my beard double thickness. So I just cut 2 beards out and glued them together, because that definitely gave me a sturdier handle to pull that mouth up and down. I did not do 2 beards. If I'm just going to do this and not have any mechanical, this is just 1 layer. But if you're going to do the interactive, either heavy cardstock or 2 layers. That will help you. So let me just show you this guy. You can just see a different color combo. And again, if I do it slow, I don't have problems, but you never know how your recipient's going to do it. And again, I think if I glued better along that foam, I'd have a better mechanism here. And I did do one with paper, so I'm going to show you that. The other thing you can think about is just the same as on the non-mechanical mouths. You can make a separate card top, and then I can glue this to a card base, or I can make my card base and build my guy, stamp all these sentiments and then build my face on top of my actual card. So that's what I did on this one. So it would be have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Whatever works best for you. I'm probably going to do this and then attach it on top. You may prefer to do this. This will save you a little paper, but we all have our little things that make it easiest for us. So finally I thought, all right, let's follow the instructions. Let's do this out of cardstock. I used 2 layers because my cardstock was fairly thick. I think it was 110 pounds. I did my double beard. I did my 6 little triangles of paper. And so, yes, this guy is pretty sturdy, and I think I was better about gluing it onto my card base. I, of course, did not stamp this one, so now I'm going to have to stick this whole thing in my MISTI and stamp it. I thought about putting like a die cut sentiment, but I'm afraid this might get caught on it. So anyway, I'll just do it on the MISTI and be super careful. This one is a little more secure. It does move a little bit, you can see, but I may wind up just doing the paper. But I tried the foam. I'll try one more and glue it better, but I may have to go back and do it with paper, which is fine. But I think this is so cool. Such a simple mechanism. And then again, you can, do whatever you want as far as paper. This is a great way to maybe use up some of those paper scraps. And then if you don't want to make an interactive one, say you need 50 of these. I wouldn't make 50 interactive ones. I would make 50 like this, and most likely 50 like this, without even the lines of the mouth. So again, this is an easy die that I think has a wow factor to it, and you can do whatever you need, because we all have, different numbers of cards that we need and different amount of time we can use to make our cards. So consider this as maybe a possibility for your winter holiday cards. The other thing is, think of all the different kinds of nutcrackers you have seen, the different characters in the store or online. You could use this die as a base and then maybe, change him up and make him a different character. So that's up to your imagination. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again in a future video.